Hello, how are you guys? Up at the cabin, we have settled in. Yay. Got my coffee. It actually snowed a little bit today, and it was a high of 66 yesterday. We made leave today, it snowed. And the ice kind of came up upon shore until it goes away completely. That's how things are up here. Those Canadians will know that I'm talking about. Now, thank you all for coming by. If you're new to my channel, I do intuitive things. I read tarot. I see things. I have these visions. Sometimes they have to do with food and a lot of politics lately because we're all kind of struggling with that. My goal is to bring some higher perspective and maybe bring a little calming with it. Hopefully you find something of value and you can subscribe. If you guys have any comments or suggestions, I get quite a few from my viewers, so I'd appreciate those. And today I'm going to do Marco Rubio. I looked into his energy, Pete Hegseth and his future, the State Department, Adam Kinzinger, Liz Cheney, and the Republicans, if they're going to be pushing back by the summer or if they're ever going to be pushing back, because when I spoke to Abe Lincoln, he said that's where we need to focus our energy, not the Orange 45, but him or them. That's who can stop him in the courts. So that's where we need to focus our energy. And China, and what's if that meeting is, did they really have a meeting? China says no. Trump's administration said yes. I wanted to look at that. And Luigi Mangione, I wanted to see what's going on in that head of his and figure that out. And I'll share that vision. Many of these things, I got some really fascinating images. And just quickly, Christine owns bag. I did it. I worked on a video, whatever it was, last week between all our traveling back and forth. And I saw it on the floor, and they're saying exactly where it was. It was on the floor, and somebody snatched it from the floor. But at the time, I thought, really? She put it on the floor? But I guess she did. So, all right, let's get started. If you guys don't know this already, I also do personal readings. I use tarot. I use astrology, my intuitive hits and visions. I'm a hypnotherapist. I do past life regression, which is fascinating. So if you're interested in that, there's a little link in my description box. Okay, thank you. All right, I'm going to start with Marco Rubio. Immediately, I felt like he was tired. I feel like he is exhausted, and I hear him going, like he's over it. He's not going anywhere, but he's like, I'm doing this, but I'm exhausted. Also have to take notes. That's what I do too. It's either that or I figure it out on the fly while I'm videoing, and I feel like sometimes that gets dragged out. So it's easier if I just take notes ahead of time. It's a little bit a combination of both. I'm in his energy, and I look at Trump, and I still see him believing in Trump. Now, the administration, that's another animal. I don't feel like he trusts them at all. I feel like he's still on board with the Trump train, 45. And the goals of the administration are, he doesn't understand what's going on. And he feels like there's too many chefs in the kitchen, not enough, too many hands in the fire. I don't know, not enough chiefs and too many Indians or something. I don't know, something like that. He wants to go home. I feel like he's traveling so much. Of course he is, but I feel like he wants to go home. I see him wanting to go to Florida. I feel like he wants to eat this certain kind of food, or he misses a food, or his family. There's something about that. He wants to just be quiet for a little while because he's been going nonstop. He's very ambitious, though. I feel like he's took this job and he's eager to do it well. He's very ambitious. He believes in most of the things, like I said, that Trump's wanting him to do. But when I am in his energy and I'm aiming my thoughts towards the Middle East, which is a very large area, I feel scared. Because I don't know if I can do this job there. There's something about the Middle East, and I heard Iran, something about that whole dynamic where he feels he doesn't have the experience and he's nervous and they are taking advantage of him. They are. He feels like he doesn't understand all the parts in this organization, all the countries and all their backgrounds enough He relies a lot on his staff, a lot, to give him that information. And it's almost like they give him this thing, he goes to a meeting. He gives him this thing and he goes to a meeting. He doesn't have background where he can just attend and say, oh, I know, I have a history of understanding what's going on with Iran and whatever. He says it's problematic, obviously. It's very problematic. I'm thinking back in the early days of Saturday Night Live when Chevy Chase on the Weekend Update used to say, first story, trouble in the Middle East. That was 1974. What has changed? Nothing. Iran, very volatile. Feels like he may not be up to it, or they think he's not. I feel like they see the ability to manipulate him or to tell him things that aren't accurate and him believe him, kind of thing. He'll get the gist of it eventually, but right now he's kind of a newbie. But I think he's just really tired. He's very pro-Israel. I feel his energy is very pro-Israel in the Middle East. And a lot of his time. He seems confused about the State Department and the reorganization. And I don't know why he's confused, because he's given announcements where he said, or he's been on Truth Social or X or whatever, saying that they're reorganizing to, I don't know if it's to save money or to be more efficient, but he feels confused about it. So I think my sense is that he was told by this handful of administrators, we're going to eliminate the middlemen, the middle management, these people, they're redundant over here. But he hasn't been there long enough. He gets some of it, but he's confused. He feels like it's being put on him, even though he's supporting it. He has no time to really delve deep. He hasn't learned enough. I feel a very low grade anger beneath the surface. And I feel like he feels like he's on the outside and they're making decisions. He's part of it at points, but he's not the ultimate decision maker. It's Trump's other administrators. They have a conversation, they go to him and they say, we're going to do A, B, or C. And he's going to say, what? Tell me what? And then he's like, either wait or yes. And then they just give him all this data, which I don't think is accurate. And they can manipulate him to a great degree. He feels, I know he's not innocent, but it feels like he just doesn't have the experience and the knowledge. No, take that back. My sense is that they're going to lose these officers and offices in the State Department to combine. And right now you won't notice it, but later there's going to be massive failures later. I don't know when that is, but it feels a long ways away. And I feel like they can't see it now. And he'll state, I get the energy, I feel like it's the fall, but free will, I don't know, maybe he'll do something bad before then, or he'll get tired and he just wants to be done because they're crazy. And it won't be Trump as much as I think it's going to be his administration, which is weird. Trump will pull the trigger, obviously. Pete Hegseth, when I am in his energy, I haven't seen him stay there long at all because he doesn't have the education or the temperament or the desire to do a good job that doesn't stroke his ego. He can't pull out big picture. He lacks the character to be in that position. He hasn't learned enough. He hasn't lived the life enough. And I don't know if he ever would. His goal is to look pretty and to be the spokesperson on the Fox Media channel. And he did that, I guess, really well because he was pretty. And there is a room, actually it's more of a corner, I think, where he's set up to attend to how he looks. I don't think maybe there is some tanning thing there. There's definitely mirrors. There's definitely a makeup. It's the right lighting for him. Something about the lighting. He needed a different lighting. Because he knows perception is everything, right? I think it's a matter of weeks or maybe even 2 months before he's out of that. That signal chat, I know it was related to the Yemen attack and the Houthis in Yemen, the Houthis, and his wife and his brother were on the chat, it's like he thinks it's all going to be covered up too, because he's used to living in a world where the journalists aren't investigating every little thing that he's doing. And he thinks he lives in this magical thinking world kind of thing. And that has to do with addictive personalities, which he has because of his drinking. And I don't think he's going overboard with drinking. It's just the way his brain is working. It's a behavioral problem he has, and it's sort of ignoring the reality of certain things, maybe hoping they're going to go away. Well, if they don't, I'll just drink it away kind of thing, or abuse substances away. Not that he's doing that, I'm just saying. And this is for entertainment purposes only. He's just going to crash and burn. He's got a lot of people around him, and there's been articles about that where he's just doing a terrible job. He doesn't know what he's doing. They're going to take him out eventually. Not out, but yeah. Okay, let's go to some other Republicans. We're going to go to Liz Cheney and Adam Kinzinger. I had somebody ask, where are they? Why aren't they pushing back? I think that's what they meant by this question. So I got into Liz Cheney's energy, and I feel happy. I feel very joyful. I don't know if she's having a good time this weekend, but I feel like she's with her family, and she's very relaxed, and she's feeling good. Now, when I get to look at her energy, or what she's looking at, it feels like to her, things are opening up, like in her personal life. Now, when we get to Trump and she looks at him, she sees him in a dark black hole, like mucky, yucky black hole. And that's where he is. So it's this, like, she is maintaining her distance. She's not even getting close. For one, they've exiled her and they banished her from the party. And she's staying on the edges until called up again. She knows the time. There is a timing thing going on. So she's waiting it out. I don't think she's leaving the party. No, I don't feel like that's happening, because I feel like she's very proud of her family's history. And she knows that the Republican word in Wyoming is super important. But I saw her as, at first it was like sugar cookie fingers, but then I realized it was shortbread. You know, shortbread come in those little finger-shaped sizes. Oh, hold on. Abby, come here. Come here. Okay. Abby's going to sit with me until she wants to get down. Yeah, so it's like, you know, I forget the Scottish company, but you can buy them. Shortbread. I could live on that. But butter, sugar, and flour, I'd be a giant ball of dough if I kept eating that. And I'm going to work on some sourdough. I know this is a separate thing altogether. Sourdough starters. I did that once last year or 2 years ago, and I didn't feed it right, and it got yucky and not good. So I'm going to try it again, because we're out here. We don't have access to grocery stores unless we drive for about 25 minutes. So I thought, well, I should have something out here. Adam Kinzinger. I saw him as very complex, even though he comes across as a solid dude, straightforward, ex-military. He knows the rules, he knows the Constitution, and he doesn't mince words. If you ever hear him being interviewed, I forget who I saw him with. Was it Jon Stewart? I don't remember. But he was so clear and concise, and he knows right from wrong. So when I saw him as a cookie, I saw him as a chocolate almond flour cookie, like chocolate dough, chocolate chips, but made with almond flour and a little cranberry for tartness, like a brownie, but it was a cookie form. And they last a long time. They're a little chewy, but they're hearty, and they have so much depth and richness to them. That's the feeling I got. I don't know why, but that's the feeling I got. But not fancy. He's from Illinois too, by the way, the land of Lincoln. I do feel like he'll go into media or podcasts. I thought about him going back into politics. I don't see him doing that. I feel like he'll do more media, something, create, work with somebody to come up with a podcast or something on YouTube or something like that to speak truth. And it's very important for him. I do feel like he's going to lean, I know he's right, a Republican, but I do feel like he is going to still lean right, but just call people on their lies and what is wrong with democracy right now. He's still conservative, is my point. He's still recovering. Like I said, I don't think he's going back in anytime soon. And he's also banished. He's in exile. Okay. Next, I'm still in the Republican vein. So I looked into, are these Republicans ever going to leave? Are they ever going to separate themselves from this debacle, this shit show, this toilet of puke that is the Trump administration? That was a pretty graphic image. Are they jumping ship? So when I thought of that, are those rats jumping ship? Is it going down? And I see them looking at each other, just a vague Republican person or whatever, not a single that I know in particular, but I see side eyes going like, is it now? Is it now? Are we doing this now? Or like, I can't believe that's happening. Just quietly, secretly talking to each other, even silently giving them the eye, saying, doing nonverbal communication, going, we can't do this. This has got to change. But nobody's doing it because that base, I know his approval, 45's approval rating has tanked, but it's still got that 30-some%. And I saw a statistic. If 34% or 33% voted for him, and Kamala and the independents she only got like 32%, like 1% less. And then the rest of the people didn't vote. So 2/3 of the country didn't vote for him. So if you think about that, if we had all those other people that actually voted for Biden, didn't come out for her, I think it would have been different. But like I've said before, this is a thing. We have to learn through this. This is a period of time, and there's lessons in it for all of us. And we came down here chose to incarnate during this time to learn these lessons, to share in this experience, in some ways help each other. I don't know what that is, and learn. Going back to the jumping ship. So immediately I'm in the Mutiny on the Bounty, the old one, and from 30s. Charles Lawton as Captain Bligh and Clark Gable as Fletcher Christian, who I picture that's the vibe I'm getting, is these Republicans. How much can we take? How much can we take before we fight back? And you can relate to Trump's saying he's going to primary people or, arrest judges or whatever to keep people down, to keep people from voicing their opinions or from speaking the truth or advocating for any group or using their First Amendment rights, whatever it is. So I'm in general Republican energy, and I'm seeing 45 in his administration, and I'm like, is it going to happen? Is anybody going to mutiny? And I do see someone doing that. Yes. Now, it's going to be painful for somebody. This person, it's a man, is going to do it. He's going to start. And in the past, I know the women of the courts, I think the Supreme Court, what's her name? Amy Coney Barrett and Sonia Sotomayor and Kagan, and even Brown Jackson, they're gonna be, though the women are gonna really push back. They're the ones that are gonna push on their end. But in this case, I feel like it's a man, and it's so painful. It does not want to. It's like it comes down to the last second. Like, I can't live like this. I can't destroy. He's gonna make a decision, and he's still supportive right now, whoever this is. But it's somebody who's gonna say, I can't, and it's going to be painful for them. And I feel like they are going to say no, and then people will start to follow. Because I got a state that he represents is going to be hurt by tariffs, hurt by cuts, job losses, manufacturing. There's a ton of stuff that his state, I don't know what state it is, somewhere in the southeast maybe. July or August. And I know that makes no sense because they're off in July and August, June, July, and August for summer break. And the Congress is going to juggle. Mike Johnson's going to be juggling. He's going to be putting all these things together. Every time something bad happens, they're going to say, no, it's this, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. But there's something when this man is home, I believe, that he's going to say, that's enough. Enough's enough. And they're going to start jumping ship one by one. Those rats are going to jump into the water. And Fletcher Christian is going to, tie up Captain Bligh. Anyway, but until then, Johnson will live. He's going to live in Trump's butt. That's where he's going to stay because that's a nice place right there. There's a lot of innuendo in there. I don't know if you guys know that about Johnson. For entertainment purposes only. Just occurred to me just now. Okay. China. Yes, there are some talks happening. They're small, underling people. It's not, Trump's second. It's little staffers, economic, administrative people, staffers, not like Besant although I think he might be, or Lutnick. They're not involved with this. It's underlings, even smaller people. There are discussions just starting. There are. They're the underlings, the normies, the people who actually know stuff about economics, and people on China's end who are, they're part of their administration that is willing to have a conversation. China is still moving things. When I'm in Xi's energy, in the past, I've seen him moving these people over here, this manufacturing over there. This has got to, just to cover his bases so they can keep the economy rolling, because they're going to be losing a lot if they keep sticking with this. I see him still doing that. I see him having conversations with India, Pakistan, not North Korea. You'd think it would be North Korea, but not. I don't think they can give him much. I don't think Korea either. It's more the other direction. And Russia, of course. There's always Russia. But they're less confident. When I looked into his energy before, he was super confident. Nope, not going anywhere. There's tariffs. And then he kept raising them to 145%, which is so dumb. He will go to the end to sacrifice people's lives, his economy, until they have to do something. But it's not yet. They got the long view. He's got the long view. And he's putting on his cabinet, or whatever they're called, the secretaries there, to come up with a solution to manage this. He's putting it on them, delegating that job. And they're doing their best because it's hard and they could get in trouble if they don't do it right. But they are trying to come up with strategies to keep them afloat. They're finding so many channels. I can see so many opportunities for them to trade in different areas. The problem is they're not going to be the powerhouse that we are. So it'll last for a little bit. It'll take a little bit of the heat off, but it won't be enough. And I also saw them having a big parade. I don't know if it's Chinese, some sort of anniversary, but I feel like there's a big parade going to be happening, or is happening. Military kind of stuff, or to show strength, maybe. Yeah. Okay. All right, Abby, I can't. So this is a kind of interesting thing. I see Xi as one of those almond cookies you get at a Chinese restaurant. The vein ones with a little bit of gloss and like 2 slivers of almonds on it. I don't know if you guys know which ones I'm talking about. Just plain. A little bit hard. You have to dunk them in the tea because they've been around for a long time. And that's the feeling I get. It's like stable. Doesn't dry out too quickly, but it also doesn't stay moist because we're going to long haul. But when I'm in his energy and I look at Trump, oh my God, he looks young and handsome. And it doesn't look like he's like thinner. And that's what Xi looks at him. So I'm trying to interpret that, because when we all look at, the orange 45, he doesn't look like that. But from Xi's perspective, he looks young. And then so I was like, is it because he's naive? Is he young? Like China's ancient. We're a really young country compared to them. So I started thinking maybe that's it. Maybe he looks to us like we're a child. a child, like, or Trump's a child too. But he was wearing a suit and he looked good. He looked handsome, like a different version that I've ever seen Trump look like. Kind of like, not Robert Redford, but kind of handsome like that, which is crazy. But he saw us as really naive. And he said, they are old and wiser. So I see late May into June, some tentative something to just sort of an agreement. It's very tentative. And it's an idea of an agreement. The problem is they steal a lot of rights. They steal a lot of creative property all the time. And that's the big thing, is they steal ideas and they make it there for cheap and they flood the market and we lose stuff. So they have to get around that. And that's the thing. The tariffs are one thing, but it's that. That's the big problem, is because the administration doesn't want to give in because of that. Because they know that is the big thing. So anyway, so there's that. So it is happening, and it's slowly, but they're not giving in right now, but something's going to be happening in a little while. And will Trump, he gives in a little bit and they give in a little bit. Their Xi or China comes up with an agreement. It's kind of a hodgepodge of, you have tariffs on this, you don't have them on this, and we give you this, and we're more flexible here, and you could do this. And I don't know, there's something like that. It's not like the old, so both of them have to save face. So it's like that. Finally, Luigi Mangione. Boy, was he interesting. I've seen, his face. It's a nice looking guy, and I know there's people that really believe in him. Words immediately come out of my mouth into my mind when I'm in his energies. I am king. I know everything. His ego is gigantic. But then I dug deeper into why. He says, I know what to do, and I took it on. He said, these companies, they see no humans. They only see numbers. These health companies. The one thing I did know is they used to own a bunch of nursing home or care facilities, and these big, these companies like United Healthcare bought up a lot of these small mom and pop care facilities, and then they cut staff and they cut funding, and then these places aren't taken care of well. And I think there's something about that, but the problem is his ego is gigantic, and he's like, in that place in jail right now, they are feeding him only positive affirmations, positive information. They have lawyers and they're being clear and, explaining things to him, but they're giving him the impression that, or he's interpreting it, the impression that, yes, I got this. They're going to figure it out because I'm right. I am king. I know everything. Something like that. He's a rich kid vibe. Like, I know this is kind of weird. The Menendez brothers, that energy, testosterone, anger. Not that he's sexually abused the Mangione. I don't think that. It was more, I'm doing it. They just they can't stop because they get angry and they feel like this is the right answer. Any male who gets angry, that's what I got. So the other thing, when I'm in his energy, I feel like he has two parts of his brain. Well, we all do. We have different hemispheres. But no, I feel like they're separate somehow. Like, I don't know if it's a split personality. There is an emotional and mental component here. Obviously, if somebody's killing somebody, something's happening there. But he has paranoid beliefs, and he obsesses a lot. And he convinces himself that it's also like the Unabomber. He has a manifesto. Like I feel like he decided, he obsesses, this is the right thing to do. But it's perverted, whatever his logical mind, because he's brilliant. He's a bright man or young man. But it converts to something to appease his paranoid beliefs. He will go to jail. And I feel like he's going to write a book, or somebody will write it for him, a ghostwriter. He likens himself to Robin Hood, but his ego is so big, and I told you about this, some sort of mental problem, emotional mental problem. And it's not how he was raised. It was because he wasn't raised like that. It's something in his brain. He said, I wasn't afraid to get caught because I never thought I would get caught because I was right. I'm right. Still, I know everything. I'm the king kind of vibe. He said, I'm smart and I thought I could do it and not get caught. And I asked him why. And so when I'm in his energy and I see, I don't know who this is, if it's that Brian Thompson, the one he got caught shooting. It's not, it's just a person or a thing or an energy out there. It's a dark energy. So he has a dark evil, I would say. There's a part of him that is that. He sees that and he feels that. And I didn't notice that until I was in his energy. And so he gets lost in there and he ruminates. Or he did. I don't know what he's doing now. He's in there and I can see him talking to guys or whatever. I don't know if he's separate. Was he separate from other people? I don't know. But he said he was logical, but he wasn't always like this. He thought it would solve something. The logic in his brain, he flipped it around. Like I said, it's transformed or converted. He thought it would fix it. He lives in a world of his beliefs and obsessions. It's just the way his brain is working. And he lives in a real thing where his family's, the businesses were bought out and stuff. That's real. It's converted. I don't know if it was, maybe there was some drug use a while ago or when he was young, but I don't think so. I think it's just his brain is obsessive and it got like that. And I see dark, it's dark when he looks, kind of like how Liz Cheney sees Trump, although he's in a deep dark well. This is like just evil-less kind of vibe. Anywho, well, hopefully I won't end on that. You guys take care of yourselves, stay sane, maybe read something light and cheery, watch a movie, a romance, or a silly comedy, and eat well, keep hydrated, take a walk in the woods or outside somewhere, play with your pets. All right, till next time. Oh yeah, and don't forget to subscribe and comment and like and do all the YouTubey things. I appreciate it. Helps me with my algorithm. Take care.
Is this the time for bed? What's going on?
Do you want to go to bed?
Yes. Do you want to go to bed? Yeah? Do you want to go to bed?